Hey friends, Jumbo, welcome back to another video. Welcome if this is your first time here. Today I'm gonna share with you some helpful tips on how I've been able to grow out my natural hair. I started out my natural hair growth journey back in 2020 and I'm just gonna insert a picture of what my hair looked like in March 2020. And then this is what my hair looks like 3 weeks ago. So if you've been with me since 2020, then you have seen the progress, and a lot of you have been asking me to do this video to just share some of the tips on how I've been able to grow out my hair. So I hope that you guys are gonna find this video helpful. And just a disclaimer, the tips that I'm about to give out in this video are gonna be things that have specifically worked for me. They may work for some and they may not work for others. Everyone's hair is different, everyone's life is different, and everyone's schedule is different. Tip number one is that I finger detangle 95% of the time. I cannot remember the last time I used a comb on my hair. The reason why I prefer finger detangling is because it's gentle and I have type 4 hair. Type 4 hair does need a lot of babying and nurturing, and I just feel like doing finger detangling gives me a chance to be very gentle with my hair. I have more control, and whenever I have any knots and tangles, it's way easier for me to feel them and just take my time to separate them. So finger detangling is basically a very good way to reduce the amount of hair breakage that you get. Tip number two, I'm not afraid of using scissors on my hair. And I'm not even talking about trimming. So whenever I have knots and tangles, as I mentioned in my first point, I try to separate them gently with my fingers, and if that doesn't work, I go ahead and grab my scissors and just cut that knot off. The reason why I do this is that, first of all, I discourage anyone from pulling onto their hair strands in an attempt to get rid of knots and tangles, because doing that is gonna make your hair strands weak and susceptible to breakage. Also, leaving knots unattended is just gonna create more knots and tangles for you. Since I mentioned trimming, I don't really have a strict trimming schedule because of the fact that I'm constantly cutting out the knots and tangles on my ends. So I feel like my ends are usually decent for the most part. If I have to trim, I would say I trim maybe once or twice a year. Tip number three is that I barely use heat on my hair. First of all, heat is not the enemy. It's how you use it, how often you use it, and at what temperature you use it. If you're using heat to deep condition your hair, then that's okay. But if you're using heat as a means to style your hair, then first of all, I encourage you to always make sure that you have a heat protectant on. And then I also encourage you to use the heat at a lower setting if you can. And also try to reduce the amount of times you use heat on your hair.
Too much heat changes the shape of your keratin's hair strands. Keratin is the protein that helps with the formation of hair, nails, and other body parts, and this eventually leads to the loss of elasticity to your hair strands, making it prone to damage. So one of the keys to maintaining healthy hair is using heat responsibly.
Tip number four is that I have a moisturizing routine, and I always make sure that my hair is moisturized. Moisturizing your hair is very important. If there's something that I want you guys to get from this video, is that moisturizing your hair is very important. There are a few ways you can moisturize your hair. One of the ways is through deep conditioning.
Another way is by using a moisturizing cream, and this is something that I do once every week. So I basically just spray my hair with some water first, and then I go ahead and apply the TGIN Buttercream Daily Moisturizer. This is an amazing hair moisturizer. If you're looking for a hair moisturizer, then TGIN is a good place to start. And then I follow it up with the Palmer's olive oil, and then I just go ahead and apply that. It's basically grease. You can use any type of grease that works for you, or you can even use oil.
In place of the moisturizing cream, you can also use a leave-in conditioner.
Always leaving your hair dry and unmoisturized eventually leads to breakage. Also, let me make this clear. There's no magic product that's gonna grow your hair. And anybody who tells you that there's a magic product that's gonna grow your hair in 3 days, 1 week, 1 month, whatever, they're lying to you. Unless you have a medical condition that's hindering your hair from growing, maybe some products may help your hair to grow. But otherwise, there's no product that grows hair.
Tip number five is that I avoid over manipulating my hair. Typically, I avoid touching my hair too much unless it's either wash day, braiding day, or moisturizing day. And also, I avoid changing my hairstyles way too often. So most of the time when I do a hairstyle, I'm probably gonna keep it for about 2 to 5 weeks. 5 weeks is me overstretching it, but it's usually typically between 2 to 4 weeks. Over manipulation may lead to breakage.
All this breakage may make it feel as though your hair is not growing, you have stunted growth, when in reality your hair is growing, it's just that a lot of it is breaking off.
Tip number 6 is that I keep my scalp clean. My scalp has a tendency to get product buildup very quickly, so I typically wash my hair every 2 to 3 weeks. But we do have some people who shampoo their hair every 2 months, they shampoo their hair every 3 months, every 6 months. Everyone's hair is different, and that's something that I said at the beginning of this video. So for someone like me who gets product buildup very quickly, I cannot go for 2 months without washing my hair.
I think that it's very important to figure out exactly what's gonna work for your hair and what's gonna work with your schedule, because even after listening to all the YouTubers and reading all the natural hair blogs on how to grow out your hair, you're still gonna have to take the time to actually try these things out and figure out what's gonna work for you. It may take a while, but if you continue being consistent and just continue being intentional about the things you're doing to your hair, eventually you're gonna figure out exactly what works for you.
Tip number 7 is patience. On average, hair grows about a half an inch per month. It may be more, it may be less, but that's just the average. So you're probably not going to be able to see any growth in 3 days. And anyone who tells you that their hair grew 3 inches in 3 days, they're lying to you. The amount of growth you get in 3 days is not something that you can see with the naked eye, unless they have like some type of special vision. Also, when you try out new hair products, give it about 4 to 6 weeks. I feel like that's a reasonable amount of time to wait and see if you're actually getting any results. Don't just dismiss the product after using it for 1 week and be like, okay, it's not working for me. I mean, unless the product is having like a really severe reaction on your hair, then be patient. Give it about 4 to 6 weeks and see what's gonna happen.
If I were to summarize all these tips into two, then these are gonna be the two main things I'll tell you guys. Number one, always make sure that your hair is moisturized. Number two, every time you're doing something to your hair, always make it a goal to get the least amount of breakage possible. Breakage is always gonna occur. There's no way you can 100% not have any breakage, but you can dramatically reduce the amount of breakage you're getting by following some of the tips or even all of the tips that I've given you. I also want to remind you guys about something that I previously mentioned. A lot of times, it's not that your hair is not growing. Unless you have some type of medical condition that's hindering your hair from growing, then that's a different case. But a lot of the times, your hair is growing, but the problem is that a lot of it is breaking off. This may make it feel as though you're having stunted growth. It may make it feel as though you've been having your hair at the same length for the past 2 years. This is probably because you're not retaining length and a lot of it is just breaking off. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you have something that you want to add, you can add it in the comment section. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section or you can ask me on my Instagram. And don't forget to give this video a like, and if this is your first time here, please kindly consider subscribing. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!